The Scottish sky that day was ashen gray, thick as Caitriona Balfe's mood. She stood by the hotel window, silently watching the raindrops hit the glass, letting the memories she had carefully hidden for months, rise up in silence. Today she had to speak. Today, Caitriona decided to break the silence. Not because of pressure from the press. Not because of endless speculation from fans. But because the pain in her heart had come to a point where it needed to be put down, at least in part. And because Sam had said, "Kate, you don't have to suffer alone anymore." For weeks, the media had been trying to turn the pages of Caitriona's private life. Why was she quiet? Why did she withdraw from so many events? Why were there unusual silences between her and Sam Heughan? It was all speculation. No one knew the truth. No one knew what was keeping this strong woman fighting silently every day. Even on the Outlander set, Caitriona's smile was as bright as ever. She still acted, still smiled for the camera, still responded gracefully in interviews. But when she entered her private room, everything collapsed. Every night, in the darkness, heavy thoughts washed over her like winter waves. She felt exhausted, felt like she was living two lives. One in public, one as a naked truth that no one knew. She only told one person.
Sam.
Sam Heughan didn't say much. He didn't ask, nor did he force Caitriona to tell. But he noticed. He saw her hands shaking slightly during rehearsals. He saw how she left the set earlier than usual. He saw her eyes tired after sleepless nights. One evening at the studio, after everyone had left, Sam found Caitriona in a corner of the hallway, huddled against a wooden door. "Kate, are you okay?" he asked, his voice soft. She didn't answer. She just nodded, as if admitting it would make her world crumble. Sam sat down next to her, not saying a word. A few minutes passed in silence. Finally, Caitriona let out a breathy sentence. "It's too much. Sam, I don't know what to do anymore." And that was the day he knew. She had been suffering a pain that she hid not only from the media, but also from those who loved her most. Caitriona didn't want to go public. Didn't want the world to pity her. Didn't want to see her name splashed across sensational headlines. But that didn't make the pain any less painful. Over the past few months, she has had to deal with a mounting workload, a deteriorating health, a constant anxiety that makes it hard for her to breathe at night, and most of all, the feeling of being broken and alone. She used to think she was strong enough to get through it all. But then there were moments when, no matter how strong she was, her heart couldn't handle it. Sam witnessed it more clearly than anyone else. Another night, after the crew had just finished a difficult scene, Sam pulled Caitriona to the back of the studio, a dim yellow light from an old streetlight. "You need to rest," he said bluntly. "You need to talk, to share with someone." Caitriona shook her head.
"No, Sam.
"I can't worry anyone anymore." Her voice trembled, as if she were holding back something very big. Sam put his hand on her shoulder. "Then tell me. I'm here." It was the first time in months that her eyes had filled with tears. "Sam, I'm scared. I don't want people to see me weak." "You're not weak," Sam replied. "You're only human." A tear fell. Caitriona let it fall. Sam didn't say anything more. He just stood there, allowing her to lean on him, if only for a few seconds. And she did lean on him. Just a few days later, an article went viral with the headline, "Is Caitriona Balfe facing crisis? Relationship with Sam Heughan cracked." The entire cast was in turmoil. Fans were confused. And what hurt Caitriona the most was, people believed she and Sam had drifted apart, when in fact, Sam had been there for her in her darkest moments. As the rumor spread, she received messages from dozens of friends in the industry, but she didn't reply to any of them. She turned off her phone, closed her door, and let the storm roll in. Only one person refused to give up.
Sam.
He went straight to the hotel, rang the doorbell several times. When she didn't open the door, he just stood outside, leaned against the wall, and said through the wooden door, "Kate, open the door. I know you're crying. There's nothing to be ashamed of." No response. Sam was still standing there. "Kate, I'm not leaving. I'm here." You don't have to wear a mask anymore." A long moment later, the door was unlocked. Caitriona stood there, her face pale, her eyes red. Sam looked at her, didn't say a word, just walked in and closed the door behind her. She burst into tears. Sam hugged her. No cameras. No audience. No fame or role. Just two people, in a rare moment of truth. Caitriona always thought that silence was the best way to protect all the people she loved. She didn't want her fans to worry. She didn't want the crew to feel pressured. She didn't want Sam to get caught up in more rumors just because she cared about her. But that silence made everything worse. She knew that. Sam knew too. And he told her on a rainy afternoon, "There are battles you can't fight alone. You have to let someone in." That sentence had been imprinted in Caitriona's mind, making her think for days. Until today. The day she decided to say it all. The studio was filled with white light. Cameras adjusted their focus. The crew prepared their questions. Everyone knew Caitriona was going to share something important today because this was the first time she agreed to appear in front of the camera in weeks. She walked in, her demeanor elegant, but her eyes held a softness that was hard to hide. The interviewer asked softly, "Caitriona, what do you want to say to everyone today?" She took a deep breath. The room held its breath. "I've been going through a difficult time lately that I've kept hidden." Her voice didn't shake, but her eyes were filled with emotion. "I think I have to be strong in every situation. I think that talking about my pain is weak, but that just makes me more exhausted." She paused for a moment, then continued, "There are nights when I feel like the world is against me, and I feel like I'm not myself anymore." The host nodded, giving her silent respect. "But there's someone who reminded me that I don't have to bear it all alone." A very small smile appeared on Caitriona's lips. Sam Hewen. His name echoed through the studio, silencing the crowd. He was there in the darkest moments. He didn't judge. He didn't ask too many questions. He was just there. And sometimes that was enough to keep me going. The interview aired that same evening. In less than an hour, social media exploded. Fans were moved not only by Caitriona's sincerity, but also by her enduring friendship with Sam. Hashtags were everywhere. Hashtag, "We love you, Kate." Hashtag, "Sam was there." Hashtag, "Strong together." Hashtag, "Outlander family." Millions of words of encouragement poured in. Caitriona read each message, each comment, her eyes unable to hide the warmth. She left the studio in the afternoon light, and Sam was already waiting in the parking lot. When she saw him, she walked over, her eyes slightly red with emotion. Sam smiled. "You did well." She looked at him for a long moment.
"Thank you, Sam."
"For everything." He shook his head. "No need to thank me. As long as you're okay." They stood together, silent but understanding each other better than any words. The rain began to fall again, gently like a relief.